West.
Yeah.
And we're going to give him the thing. Could you go down and?
Which one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. I figured he'll do it twice as quick as I could.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm excited for you guys.
I miss you.
Oh,
Bye.
I'm gonna be in the same place, right in Parsons Field.
How are you, huh?
Good.
No, I mean, I'm gonna miss you here.
Yeah.
How's it going?
Ed's not though. No.
Ed can be very
That
fair
didn't
at
get
times,
into the,
and then other times he can tick me off.
Our fault or their fault?
no, I think it was
Them getting laid.
Debbie
Oh,
getting the information and not putting it all in. She got the numbers in. You know, the bottom line, which is really the important thing, but it's nice to have everything in. Now, this report has the new numbers in it, has the correct numbers. Doesn't have that letter, he didn't give it to me,
okay.
so.
Congratulations on selling the house so quick.
Yeah, well,
What,
we're,
2 or 3 days?
yeah, well, we're under contract, you know, that can still fall through, but, we had our first inspection and everything was fine, so. Well, I mean, they asked for the septic to be pumped or whatever.
Oh,
You know, nothing, the 2 smoke detectors, we went about 2 smoke detectors, stuck those on the ceiling, so I think we're
how
in
many
good shape.
bedrooms is that house?
2.
But when I saw the pictures, to me, it looked like 3.
Well, there's a third one in the bedroom, but it's not
Is it?
technically
It doesn't
egress.
have a closet?
No, it doesn't, have- you can put one, it's bigger than the other bedrooms.
No, you still have. That's good, though. She
Yeah.
must be excited.
Yeah, I'm more excited than her, I think, but
She'll get there.
Yeah.
How's Ronan doing?
good.
Is he
Okay.
living at school?
Yep, yep,
That's smart,
yep,
especially freshman year. Okay, boys, make us proud.
yeah.
David. How we doing, bud? Short timer?
Ready? Good morning. Taylor, a resident of the town of Parsonsfield in the county of York, state of Maine, greetings. In the name of the state of Maine, you are hereby required to warn and notify the inhabitants of the town of Parsonsfield in said county and state, qualified to vote by law in town affairs, to meet at the town office at 634 North Road in Parsonsfield on Friday, the 8th day of September, AD 2023, at 3 p.m. to act upon Articles 1 and 2. The polling hours are 3 p.m. until 7 p.m. for Article 2. And to notify and warn said inhabitants to meet at the town office at 634 North Road in Parsonsfield on Saturday, the 9th day of September, AD 2023, at 9 a.m. to act on Articles 3 through 47 set out as follows. Article 1, to choose a moderator to preside at said meeting. Moderator elections took place yesterday. Gloria Hermance was elected moderator. She appointed Norman Blake as a deputy moderator. Norman will moderate this part of the meeting. I would
Thank
like
you.
to look for a motion to hold off on reading the full warrant.
Second.
Second? All in favor of not reading the full warrant at this time? Any opposed? Okay, at this point, I would like to pass the meeting over to Norman. Thank you.
Thank you, Danielle. Good morning. For those of you who don't know, and I think I see mostly all familiar faces here, my name is Norman Blake. I'm a migrant moderator from the town of Baldwin. We'll run today's meeting as usual according to the rules of the Maine Moderator's Guide as promulgated by the Maine Municipal Association. And that codifies about 2 centuries of town meetings in Maine. First of all, let's all be, there she is. let's begin by doing something we can all agree on. Rise and salute the flag of our nation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Before we get into the results of Article 2, the election, Ed's got one or two things to say.
Caught me with my water. Good morning, everyone. This is about the Spirit of America Award, which is on the first page of your annual report. It's awarded to a resident in each town in Maine for outstanding community service. The Select Board felt that Wes best exemplified these qualities for our town, and he was nominated. As I said, the first page of the annual report lists all his accomplishments and achievements, or most of them. I have to talk to Sue about the rest of them. So we have a certificate here from the Spirit people, and there's, I guess, a dinner later on at some point that you folks were invited to attend. So on behalf of the town of West, congratulations. Since the stairs are here, I was going to ask Jesse to do it, but since the stairs are here and Wes is right there, I'm going to crash and burn. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That was a surprise to me when one of the selectmen came up here about 4 months ago and asked me if I'd accept this, and I says, well, there's nobody else, and told him, we've selected you, so I says, well, I'll take it. So I just kind of kept this from the hush. It's all leaked out now. Thank you very much.
Anything else, Ed?
Two more little things.
Two more little things, that's right.
Well, not little, actually.
That's right.
These things get left to the end and sort of sometimes forgotten about. And people leave and it's like, whatever. But I wanted to take this opportunity to thank Jesse for his 6 years of select service. And hopefully he'll be back in the future, but I just wanted to make sure he knew that the town recognized his contributions to the town. And also, our new person, Jen Lewis, who is hiding somewhere.
Right in front of you, Ed.
Should put my glasses on, Jen.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, everybody. I'm looking forward to it.
And Jen's going to bring, I think, a new perspective. Jen's, I don't want to say the social butterfly, but Jen's certainly a lot more social in effect than we are. And she's been responsible for the Monday coffees and the afternoon lunches and trying to bring the town together socially, whereas maybe we try and do it financially. I don't know. But anyway, so welcome, Jen, and we all look forward to working with you.
Thank you. I do too.
Yeah.
You're up. You are up.
I am up, Ed, okay. Early this morning. Thank you. Let's move on to Article 2, to elect by secret ballot the following town officers. We'll go right to the results. For a selectman, assessor, overseer of the poor, 3-year term. Prevailing is Jennifer Lewis with 85 votes. Closely chased by Jeff Wright with 5 write-in votes, and Harvey got a vote. For MSAD 55 director for a 3-year term, Judy Ingram with 73 votes, and we have a couple of write-in votes, people teasing their friends. Planning board member for a 5-year term, Roger Moreau, 60 votes. Alternate planning board member for a 3-year term, Harvey Maycumber with 7 votes. Jeff trailing with 2, and Lynn Sudlow with 1 vote. I assume those might have been write-ins. Budget Committee member for a 2-year term, Denise Crooker has 14, following closely by Deborah Jackson with 4, Pamela Dutremble with 3, James Barron with 3, Harvey McCumber with 2, Jeff with 2, and Cliff Krolik with 2. Down to Budget Committee member for a 3-year term, Janet Berger has 66 votes, followed by some single number write-ins. Again, people wishing to torture their friends, I suspect. We do it in almost every town. For director of the Piper Free High Fund for a 1-year term, Marion Wright has 1 vote and Alex Kemet has 1 vote. And director of the Piper Free High Fund for a 3-year term, Linda Marsh has a vote, 1 vote. Secretary Treasurer of the Piper Fund for a 3-year term, Dale Dunnell's a vote, and James Barron has 1 vote. And those are the results of the elections. Congratulations to those who have prevailed and got your work cut out for you. So let's get down to business. Article 3, see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $120,761 in order to contract for a full-time, 40 hours a week, York County Sheriff for Parsonsfield. Contract period July 1, 2023 to June 30, 2024. Do we have a motion?
Discussion?
Moved and seconded. Discussion. Yes, sir.
All right, I'll tilt my windmills early this year. Again, I look at where we live and the surrounding communities, and I'm not saying that we're not getting some bang for a buck potentially, but for the amount of money that we're spending, I don't see any difference from what goes on in Cornish, in Porter, than what goes on in Parsonsfield. And I think the money could be better spent towards, snow removal in the winter, other services and things that need to happen. And again, I just think the money could be better spent, especially since last year we overspent our budget by some $200,000. And again, that's my small little piece of my tilting at the windmill.
Thank you. Jeff, I think I saw you start to put your name in the air.
Yeah,
You put your hand in the
I was
air.
looking at the big screen to see if I was up there, but I'm not.
Move closer.
I'd have the camera this way, then you could see the select board respond, but
What's on your mind?
what's on my mind? Oh, a lot. To the gentleman, about, money, spending on the budget, for the deputy. 2009, we had a constable. We spent $30. And since we've had our deputy, we've spent almost $778,000. And it's nothing personal against the deputy, but every single year, I keep saying, I'd like to see a police report, not just at the end of the year, but I want to see a police report every month. And I haven't got that, and I've said it every single year, and every single year, I still don't get it every single month. Now, the select board might get a police report every month, but does a general public see it? Does anybody here see a police report every single month? Maybe the select board does, but you don't. I've asked to have it put on the website. It was on twice in 2022, in September and August. I'm going to try to cut this short. So my point is, we're not getting a lot of police reports. I know some of the stuff is under investigation, it can't be helped, but it should be, when I go into the town hall, there should be a board out there, and I've said it every single year, with a police report on the board. And now that we have the state police patrolling, the state police report should be there. I think if any police departments in your town, you should know what's going on, just to know what's going on. So $778,000 after 10 years, are you getting your money's worth? Well, 2009, you were only paying $30 for a constable. Constable worked with the deputy. That's all I got to say right now.
Okay, thanks, Jeff. Cliff?
Yeah, unfortunately, or fortunately, I'm gonna have to totally agree with you. I mean, in any transparent world, there is always a recorded report. And I believe that it's really important, as the costs to have sheriff keep going up, they're not going down. We need to be transparent and have reports. Because there are incidents in our town that continue to happen. And police should come in on a monthly basis and see a list of complaints. Maybe they don't hear it all the time. Could be with that, could be with their record that they show it monthly what was discussed. And there could be a complaint board. I know for a fact, out in the country where we live, the roads are getting awfully blackened by tire tracks. And we all know what that is. And I can hear it from my house. And I'm sure if I can hear from my house, and most of the sound goes over my place, because I live down in the valley. I'm sure everybody, at least all through Middle Road, hears what's going on. And that shouldn't be happening. So my point is to support totally what Jeff said. For that kind of money, we need to have transparency and reporting on a monthly basis.
Thanks, Cliff. Further questions, comments? Quick one, Jeff?
I would like to see the deputy come to a select board meeting once in a while and speak on, on what's going on in Parsons Field. Now we're Facebook Live, it'd be nice to see a face.
Further questions, comments?
Just saying.
Yes.
Town right now, I think is quite quiet. We came from a town you wouldn't want to be in. With the problems they were having with roads and everything else. And I want to make sure that if I make a phone call, I have somebody there I need. And a lot of you don't think it's necessary, but it only takes one time for somebody to really get hurt. And right now, we don't know what's going on. We don't know if we're going to get people in our community that are not suitable to be here or have no right, and what is going to happen to all of us. I'm not a young person anymore, and when I need help, I want to know there's somebody there I can call and get on. That's all.
Further question? Yes, sir, way in the back.
We spend a lot of money to protect our citizens in this town, and I believe that this is only one aspect of that. And I think it should continue, and hopefully
Okay. Are we ready to vote on Article 3? I think so. Article 3, see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $120,761 for the sheriff contract. All those in favor? Those opposed? The article is approved. Article 4, to see if the town will vote to combine its various non-dedicated sources of income into a general revenue account from which it will pay its expenses as authorized by this town meeting. Do we have a motion?
Second.
Moved and seconded, discussion. Jeff?
I'm on the budget committee, and budget committee voted no recommendation. Selectmen voted yes. So on Article 4, I would like to know the reason why the select board voted yes.
David?
This is how we pay our bills, Jeff. We get income from excise tax, from real estate taxes. Those are the undedicated, non-dedicated sources of income. They go into a bucket. We have to pay our electric bills. We have to pay our snowplow contract. That's where the money comes from. It's really an administrative thing.
Okay. I was just concerned because the budget committee didn't know, and they, okay, thank you.
Yes.
I believe that Article 4 never came before the budget committee, actually. That's why there's no recommendation.
Yeah, it really isn't a budget issue.
Dan, did you have something?
It's the budget committee wouldn't need to approve. It's not having to do with how the budget comes or goes. It's just an administration.
Yep. Okay, are we ready to vote? Jeff, one more thing?
If it is administration, then it should say administration decision.
Ready to vote on Article 4. Article 4, to see if the town will vote to combine its various non-dedicated sources of income into the general revenue account, et cetera. All those in favor? Those opposed? The article is approved. Article 5, to see if the town will vote to authorize the selectmen to use up to 50% of unappropriated surplus balance to reduce the 2023 tax commitment.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion, questions? Hearing none. All those in favor of Article 5 as read? Those opposed? The article is approved. Article 6, to see if the town will vote to authorize the selectmen to borrow from the dedicated town funds in anticipation of taxes. Said amount not to exceed 75% of the town funds and be repaid with appropriate interest. Have a motion? Moved and seconded. Questions, comments? Hearing none. All those in favor of Article 6 is read. Them as opposed. The article is approved. Article 7, to see if the town will vote to authorize the municipal officers to spend an amount not to exceed 3/12 of the budgeted amount of the 2023 annual budget during the period from July 1, 2024 to the annual meeting in 2024. Have a motion? Moved and seconded. Questions? Hearing none. All those in favor of Article 7 as read? Those opposed? Article is approved. Article 8, see if the town will vote to authorize the selectmen to close all unexpended appropriations and overdrafts into the unappropriated surplus account. We have a motion? I need a motion before you can second it. Oh, okay, I didn't hear you, Dan. Okay, moved and seconded. Questions, comments? Hearing none. All those in favor of Article 8 as read? Those opposed? The article is approved. Turn me page. Article 9, to see if the town will vote to expend the following dedicated funds in accordance with state and federal law. These are plumbing and building permit fees, animal control monies, LRAP, state road assistance program money, FEMA grant money, MEMA reimbursements. That's what, Maine Emergency Management.
Yeah.
And the American Rescue Plan. Have a motion on Article 9?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Questions, comments? Jeff?
I see plumbing and building permit fees. Years ago, they used to have a report on how many permits were issued out. And over the years, it's been kind of a up and down situation. And I just want to make note that I really want to see more detailed information in the town report on building and plumbing permits. I know the comp plan is doing some research and stuff, but if we don't know how many houses were built in every single town report, then we're not going to know our growth. So that's just a simple
Okay,
point.
thank you, Jeff. Any further comments on, related to Article 9? Yes.
How much monies were allowed for our town under the American Rescue Plan?
I'm sorry.
What do we have going on in American Rescue Plan money? Jesse?
206.
It's in the last, did you get this report that we had out there?
No, I did not.
Okay, it's in the last page of that report has
Okay.
the status of the rescue. We want two more things to vote on at the end of the meeting today, and that will theoretically use up our $209,000.
I didn't care where it went, just how much.
Cliff?
I think Jeff is making a good point, I just don't know how we can go about having, more transparency around building, plumbing, building permits, because the town keeps growing. And, it's important that we have a report, because we are seeking money for that, and to paying for that. So I'd like to see a process through the select board, how we can be a little more specific, what the plumbing, how many, see what's going on, at least on monthly.
Cliff, did you look at this by any chance?
Is that listed in the back of the book, how many plumbing?
It's under Town Activity Report. You should look at that. That has the police reports. It has the June code enforcement report, which has the plumbing reports and all that information you were concerned about. Well, all of these reports will be posted or should be posted on the town website
On a monthly basis.
on a monthly basis.
We're working on it, we're getting there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. On Article 9?
Repeat the questions, because some of us wear hearing aids and having trouble hearing.
What?
Cliff, could you stand up and in 12 words or less summarize what you said?
Just basically, I was concerned and clarified. We want to sort of keep track of how many plumbing permits and building permits.
Cliff wants to know, a summarization of how many building permits for various activities, but probably most specifically residential dwellings are happening in Parsonsfield for the last year or so. Reason is, are you on comp plan committee?
No.
Well, he has interest in knowing how the town is growing and where and how and what sorts of structures are being built.
He said that they're working on it.
Yeah.
Well, if you look in these numbers, we finally got a report we like, which goes along with what Cliff was saying. So for instance, for the month of June, we had 6 building permits, 6 plumbing permits. It gives the name of the person that asked for the permit, and it gives the lot location of where it's being done.
And what it was for.
I read that already.
Okay, so that's exactly what Cliff wanted. We're just going to be expanding that, so this will show up every month for the appropriate month, obviously, and then the annual report will just have a summary of, obviously, the last 12 months of what's happened. So,
The point is well taken. If you know you don't have a foghorn voice, please stand up and take a deep breath and bellow out, both for the benefit of those with hearing aids and those of us who are too darn vain to get one. Anything further on Article 9? Yeah.
It's just, I've been looking at the reports from 2009 to 2023, and as far as building permits go, almost every year, they sort of change between detailed and not detailed. And I've noticed there's a couple of other towns that have some really detailed information. And I know the select board is aware of this, and that's my point. I just want to make it short. So, thank you.
Okay. Anything else on Article 9 before we vote on it? Article 9, to see if the town will vote to expend the following dedicated funds in accordance with state and federal law. And they are plumbing, animal, LRAP, FEMA, MEMA, and American Rescue Plan. All those in favor? Those opposed? The article is approved. Article 10, to see if the town will vote to raise and/or appropriate the sum of $200,707 for the compensation for the town officers and/or employees for the ensuing year. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Moved and seconded. Questions, comments? Here, Jeff?
Is there any information on who is getting those benefits?
On who is getting what, Jeff?
Whatever we're voting on. The detailed information on who gets what, that's all.
Selectmen in the town report, do you lay out?
Well, it says selectman's assistant, it says
What page are you on, Ed?
61. It lists the office, and if we only have one person in that
Yeah.
office, it's sort of
Do the math, huh?
figures. Well,
three selectmen.
Says selectman 3, so
Page 51 in the. Town
61.
report, Jack.
61.
61.
All right.
What I told you about hearing aids?
Health benefits too? Health benefits as well?
No, that would be one thing, Jeff, that
Okay.
health benefits are not specified per person.
All right, thank you. That's what I was.
Dan?
I want to point out that the budget committee did not make a recommendation on this. And that's because we were given the total to be expended and not have the breakdown. So we felt we did not have enough information to know what we were voting on.
Cliff?
This can't happen. I mean, there's a perfect example of a member of the budget committee. This is the largest part of our budget, and they didn't have all the information. This should not happen.
Norm?
David?
Yeah, I fully agree, Cliff. And personally, I don't know why that was. Nobody came to me. Had somebody come to me, we could have gotten the information, or someone else. So, okay, that's it.
Way in the back.
First of all, at these budget meetings, first of all, I understand why they started them in August, because some of the financing isn't finished by June or July. But there should have been a selectman there. And if you were there, David, maybe some of these, either no votes or none, would have been clarified, and they could have voted one way or the other. So I think there should be a stipulation that for the budget committee, there should be a selectman there that is aware of all of these different questions that can be answered, because I sat in on the budget committee and none of those people could understand some of the figures that were given to them. And the idea of the budget committee is to narrow it down and find out exactly what the town is spending and what they're gonna vote on in the town meeting.
Yep.
David?
Yeah, I agree, Cliff. Cliff, I'm sorry. Todd, the only thing is, no one selectman is going to know the answers to everything, first of all.
All three come.
Well, it's difficult for that. However, a selectman could get the answers. And that's something we should take under consideration. Next year, hopefully the budget committee can start meeting earlier. We had a changeover in financial systems in January, and that's caused all kinds of havoc. And hopefully it'll be much cleaner next year.
Any further questions, discussion on Article 10, town officers' compensation?
One quick thing, if we run into this problem again next year, don't forget, we shouldn't be voting on this. We should have this problem cleared up. That should, as David said, that should have never happened.
Okay, further questions, comments on Article 10? Hearing none, all those in favor of Article 10, to see if the town will vote to raise appropriate the sum of $200,707 for compensation of town officers as listed. All those in favor? Those opposed? The article is approved. Article 11, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $3,174 stipend plus 75% of plumbing permit fees and all other CEO fees for compensation of the code enforcement officer.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Questions, comments? Yes.
How does our compensation for the code enforcement officer compare to how other towns do it?
I believe, Gary, it was close to like 50% either way. You know, some towns gave a full stipend or a full salary, and then other towns, this is kind of a more traditional, older way to do it. But this has been something we've been discussing for off and on for 6 months about changing it. And we were getting a little closer. I'm not gonna see the end of it, but we were getting closer to
You
making.
can come back and listen.
Making a decision, to come up with a fair hourly rate, for the code enforcement officer.
I mean, do we have a total of what this figure is at the end of the year,
It's,
based on,
I assume it's in here. I believe it's in most of these.
Yeah, I think it is.
Well, while Jesse's looking that up, I can tell you that in Baldwin, the code enforcement officer gets an hourly rate, period. I can't remember. I moderate a couple other towns and I can't remember what they do. Jesse, you got,
I guess it's probably in the report that I didn't see.
Oh, I'm not seeing it right this second, Gary, but
Yeah,
it was in last year's, I recall.
right, it's
I was
not a
just looking
budget
at it.
item, so this part of it, the article is a budget item, but the actual payment is not because it's just comes in and we pay it out, so it may not be in here.
Not under this,
We can find it though for you.
just curious.
further questions, discussion on Article 7, plumbing stuff. Okay, if we're ready to vote, Article 11, to see if the town will vote to raise appropriate $3,174 dollar stipend plus 75% of plumbing permit fees and all other CEO fees for the compensation of the code enforcement officer. Those in favor? Those opposed? The article is approved. Jump down to Article 12, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the following sums to cover general governmental expenses. Now, got a question for you. Is everybody okay on reading that? And we'll just consider that reading the first two lines is sufficient for this article? Or would you prefer to have me read down through all the categories and the numbers? If I don't hear any, Dan?
I move that we waive reading the entire article.
Okay.
Second.
If there's no objection, that's what we'll do. Then you won't have to listen to me drone on. However, if somebody wants to hear it, you have the right to. Anyway, Article 12, see if the town will vote to raise or appropriate the following sums for the various categories in Article 12. The total under this article is $265,184. Do we hear a motion?
I want to speak.
Just, I need a motion before.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. You,
Yes. I'm Judy Ingram, and Jim Barron and I are your representatives to Saco River Corridor Commission, and I thank the Budget Committee for raising the donation to $600 from $400 last year.
any other questions and comments on, David?
Well, you guys might like me after this. We went to a new insurer starting, I believe, this coming Monday. And because of that, we don't have to raise the first item in that list, surety bonds, I believe. They are included in the new policy. So I would like to amend this article and strike the first entry, which is account 5101 surety bonds, $800.
Okay, so your amendment would be, who's got a number scruncher to subtract $8,000, $800 from the 265, et cetera?
Oh, looks like 264, 384.
384, yep.
What'd you say, Jesse?
264, 384.
264, 384. So, David, your amendment would be to change the total governmental expenses allocation under this article to $264,384 from the listed amount and eliminate, where are we? The surety bond under account 5101. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, before we vote on Article 12 as a whole, we have to vote on the amendment. Or we have to discuss it before we can vote on it, if we want to. Is there any discussion on the amendment? Okay. All those in favor of David's amendment, basically to scratch 5101, the surety bonds for $800 from this article, please so indicate. Those opposed? Everybody's in favor of saving $800. Nothing wrong with that. Now, get back to Article 12 as amended. Any further discussion? Yes.
I don't know if Parsonsfield comes under the mandate of the Family Leave Act.
Of what?
Of the Family Leave Act. It's a federal mandate, but excuse me, state mandate, I'm sorry. It states that any entity that has more than 15 employees has to engage in this. Are we accepted for that?
We don't have 15. We don't have 15 employees. I said, we don't have 15 employees.
So you're under the threshold, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
I also believe that municipalities are exempt, period. I may be wrong about that.
15 employees or less.
Are exempt, yes.
Yeah, 15 or less. Yeah.
Yes.
We don't have 15.
Once you
We have
hit
less than
16, you become required to, okay. Further questions, comments on matters? Jeff?
Okay, 5108, it's kind of a large sum of money. Medical and dental insurance. Is there co-pays with an employee that has medical insurance?
The current policy says that the town will pay for the least expensive policy that MMA offers, that we're a part of. If the employee, for the employee, if the employee wants this middle or top tier, they pay the difference. And we also have a graduated plan now where family members can be covered partially after a certain amount of time. Nobody has reached that threshold, though.
Okay.
So this also covers an increase, like 25%.
Well, yeah, a dramatic increase, 25%.
Yeah.
Who qualifies for medical and dental?
It's in the personnel policy, the select board and road crew, clerk, town clerk, selectman's assistant. Without looking at the policy, I'm not sure, but the policy's on the website.
It might be a gray area. I know with some companies, you have to work X amount of hours to qualify for insurance. And I was just wondering if every employee qualifies for that, it's X amount of hours to get medical insurance. I mean, we all need medical and dental. I was just wondering, because what's the threshold, I guess, on the hours?
we reviewed it. It's in our, what David just said, the
personnel policy.
Personnel policy.
Thank you.
Cliff, did you have your hand up?
I did. I'm referring to 5104.
Please speak right up,
I'm
Cliff.
referring to items 5104 and 5112, those two articles. Now, if you put those two sums together, that's a fairly sizable amount. Under professional services, is that including all of the legal fees that we pay our lawyer? Okay, would you say the largest chunk of that 29,000 is the legal fee?
Is that,
I believe so.
is that also for like repairing things, like in the office?
No. Where does the assessing come in? That's my only question. But yes, I believe you're right.
Okay, and on what, 5112, unanticipated expenses, what might fall under that?
Unanticipated.
Can you give Cliff an example of what might have been last year unanticipated?
Road repair.
Road repairs?
No,
No, I
they've
don't-
got
I
their
don't
own.
know. That's-
But that's,
We had some work done on the boiler that had to be, keep it running. If our well went out, shouldn't even say that. Knock on wood, we've had, good luck with that, yeah. But things like that.
Right,
Okay. Further questions on Article 12 as amended? Okay, we'll vote. Article 12, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the following sums to cover general governmental expenses. And again, we've amended this article to get rid of surety bonds. We're now at a total amount for this article, $264,384. All those in favor? Those opposed? The article is approved. Article 13, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $1,000 for comprehensive plan committee expenses. Do we have a motion? Moved and seconded. Questions, comments? Hearing none. All those in favor of Article 13 is read. Those opposed? The article is approved. Article 14, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $5,000 to be placed in the Sidewalk Capital Reserve Fund. This is account number 5414. Have a motion?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any comments, questions? Hearing none. All those in favor of sidewalks, Article 14 as read. Those opposed? The article is approved. Just as a point of interest, in the town of Baldwin, we have exactly 10 feet of sidewalk. It's down near what they used to call the Corner Station area, and it just goes from nowhere to nowhere. The state of Maine put it in with your money. We don't know why. Article 15, see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the following sums to cover protection expenses. These are workman's comp insurances, Keys Falls Fire Department, dispatch, fire truck reserve, streetlights, hydrants, animal control expenses, and Harvest Hills Animal Shelter, Inc. Total under Article 15 would be $179,541. Can we have a motion?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Questions, comments?
Discussion, yeah. I'd like to discuss something.
Speak right up, please, Jack.
5215 fire hydrants, I know there's nothing we can do about it, it's $58,000 every single year it comes up. But it's time that the towns get together and go to Augusta and get something done. Every single town is paying way too much money for fire hydrants to be tested, and we need to reduce that fee. And I think if all the other towns around get on board, maybe we can do something, but we're getting taken advantage of on these fire hydrants.
Further, Cliff?
Jeff, can you give an example of other towns that have taken that under control? You have no idea?
Nobody has a, oops, don't worry, the lid's on it.
So through the entire state of Maine, everybody's paying at least $58,000?
Yeah, I don't want to bore anybody with all the information, but yes, they're all in that range, and they all say they can't do anything about it. But I think if all the small towns get together and say, hey, we need this thing reduced, you know, it's just somebody's taking advantage of it.
Sounds like a good racket to get into.
It's a lot of money, and if you add up all the towns.
Way in the back, yes.
Yeah, can you?
Please speak up.
Can you tell me when you will be this time to come to the selectmen, and we need to build a fire department in Parsons Field. And it was
What?
talked about
fire
years
department.
ago,
Oh,
about X amount the town would put away for so many years, and then we would get some grant or some, I wasn't involved in it, something.
The question is,
I have two friends that cannot get insurance because
because they have such big, old houses that are nice. But what they're worth to rebuild, insurance companies won't do it. And I thought that they would do it.
The question was, how can a citizen or citizens approach the selectmen to get a discussion going regarding a new fire station?
We have workshops before our regular meetings, and if you call Debbie, she can schedule some workshop time, probably an initial meeting just to get an idea of what you have in mind. I mean, I recall that there were talks earlier, but I was not involved at all. Chris McLean, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Had something really going a few years ago.
Yeah.
And there was gonna be grants and, anyway, but we gotta do something. We gotta, because I think Parsons Field is starting to grow. And
Okay,
we need,
yeah, if we can get you to a workshop, let's do that, because this is not the forum to discuss that.
am I gonna have to run around town with, have people sign, do you want?
I have no idea at this point.
Okay, all right, well, I'll come up and visit you guys.
Have Debbie put you on the agenda, right, Debbie?
No, not Debbie.
Debbie can, yeah.
It's a different D.
D's confused. I still
I knew
love
what
it.
you meant.
I'll get you folks over here.
Okay, fire hydrants are $58,000. How many fire hydrants do we have in Parsons Field?
23.
Okay, so you take 23 into that 58,000 to make sure that these fire hydrants in the places they are do work. Does anyone want to take that chance in case their house catches fire and the
They-
fire hydrant
They
doesn't?
test them once or twice a year.
And that to me.
And that's where the water line is for the town.
Right.
Yes, and back to Jeff. Yes.
Getting back on the fire department, fire.
If, this gentleman's recognized.
We do pay 3 additional towns to provide coverage for us. I think it's Limerick, Newfield, and Effingham. You know, Parsons Field's a big town, so the station out in Keys Falls, it just takes them too long to get there. I don't know if that would help these people on insurance or not, but we are contracted with these other 3 towns to provide fire service. You know, where I live, by the time Keys and Falls get there, I wouldn't have much left, but Effingham can probably get there in 5 minutes, because Effingham now has a fully staffed station during the day. Not fully staffed, but staff station, which a lot of these volunteer, small towns don't. So Effingham's a little bit of a step ahead of a lot of the
Yes.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you something about the towns around us, and of course, I live in South Parsonsfield, and it's usually Newfield that comes here, and I'm sure it's Effingham when it's up by Taylor City, but Limerick does a lot of work too. And I will tell you, I know several fire people in both of those departments, and they're sick and tired of it, because our fire department doesn't show up until there's only a foundation left. And they're usually left there to make sure the fire doesn't kick up again. It is ridiculous, a town, 67 square miles, and they don't have a fire station. So I think the 3 of you should start taking this more seriously.
Okay, can we do this at a workshop, Cliff? This is not the time to discuss
Well,
this.
it is, because we
Okay.
have an expense here
Okay.
for the fire department for $62,000.
Okay, yep.
So it is, I'm not out of order here by saying that. And I just wanted to rebut his thing about having other towns pick up. They have their own problems.
Well, we pay them to do it. If they didn't
Now, how
want to do
much do
it,
they
they.
One person gets to talk at a time. That's the way it is. We're starting to stray a little bit off the article. This is funding, not the specifics of the execution, but it is important, so I will allow limited discussion. I think the selectmen and our future selectmen have heard what people have said and probably taken under advisement. Would you care to
Well, I
continue?
just want to comment, you know, we pay them to do it, they're not, and they come to us and they agree and we have a contract with them. If they didn't want to do it, they could say, we're not going to do it anymore, but that isn't what they've said to. So they shouldn't really be complaining about doing it.
Yes.
Where is that line item that we pay? We have an expense here of 62,000 plus for Keys or Falls. But where is that appropriate amount that we pay those other towns?
It's in there.
There's something further down, to my recollection. I can't
There
tell
is.
you where it is now. We'll get there.
Thank you.
Article 32 looks pertinent to this.
32, yeah.
But we're not at Article 32 yet, so we won't talk about it now. Jeff?
Before I forget, so somebody mentioned about a workshop. If we do have a workshop, it should be posted on the website to allow people to know that there is a workshop. It should be on the agenda ahead of time, not just a workshop and nobody knows about it. And fire hydrants, they don't all get used per se when there's a fire. If I remember correctly, that there's not, just because it's a fire hydrant, doesn't mean it's going to be used as a fire hydrant. Just a point of interest.
In the back.
Can I make a motion to vote?
You can, but to move the question takes a 2/3 vote. I'd like to see if we can maybe do it without the added cumbersome. Are we ready to vote on Article 15, protection of expenses? I think so. Okay. Article 15, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the following sums to cover protection expenses. The total under this article, $179,549. All those in favor? Those opposed? The article is approved. Article 16, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $83,000 for Shakopee rescue expenses. Do we have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Moved and seconded. Questions, comments?
Rescue what?
Huh?
Rescue what?
It's the ambulance service.
Ambulance service?
Yeah. When you get old, you'll be happier for them. I got a ride once.
I'd be happy for it anyway.
Further questions, comments, Article 16, Shakopee rescue expenses. Hearing none, all those in favor of Article 16 as read, $83,000. Those opposed? Article 16 is approved. Article 17, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $10,000 to be placed in the Shakopee Rescue Capital Reserve Fund. Do you have a motion? Moved and seconded. Questions, comments? Jeff, what a surprise.
I know. Shakopee Rescue Capital Reserve Fund. What does that exactly go towards?
I suspect they put it in a piggy bank when they need a new ambulance or something.
Okay, I was just wondering if they're going to put anything into the high school for like training for rescue.
Well, it doesn't say anything about that in this. You have info on that?
My name is Beverly Russell. I'm the treasurer for the rescue. I'm not a resident of the town.
Okay, just a formality.
Right.
Ordinarily, we need a vote of 2/3 of the residents of the town to let a out-of-towner speak. If there are no objections, I would ask that we invite Beverly to speak. Hearing no objections.
To answer his question, the capital reserve fund is held by the towns. And then when we have a capital expense, like an ambulance, say a new roof on the building, something that's a capital expense, we go to the 4 towns and we ask them for their portion of the money out of that account. It was set up before I got here and the towns hold it, we do not. As for the training at the high school, yes, we do have a program that we're trying to get off the ground where we're training the kids, to get them into the EMS because there is a shortage across the entire country. And I'm sure you've seen the articles where companies are doing this, where they're training the kids or they're training the adults or paying for the training so that they can get more people in the field. That is not a capital expense. That is considered community outreach, and we take that out of the general fund, or we try and get grants, donations to cover that. Okay? Any other, does that answer the question?
I would think so. Does anybody have any Shakopee rescue budgeting questions? Well, we've got somebody right here. Okay.
Yeah, what happens year after year, 10,000 every year, and it's not spent, does that?
Oh, it's spent. We have a new ambulance coming right now.
Okay, all right.
And then there's another ambulance that we ordered before COVID that got hung up in the COVID thing that we're actually is supposedly now in the pipeline coming, but they're gonna honor the pre-COVID price because the price jumped $100,000 on the ambulance.
Roughly how much does this new one cost? Roughly?
Which one, the first one or the second?
The one you get.
Expensive one.
The one we're getting right now is about 350? 370. The one that was ordered pre-COVID is 285?
Wow.
281, well, 200.
Somewhere around 280. I don't have the numbers right in front of me.
Yeah, no, I just ballparked.
But there was a significant bump. And it's not like this one's better than that one. It's just, it was the bump caused by COVID.
Yeah.
So,
Interesting.
yeah.
Okay, by the way, that, the getting permission is a state law matter. That's not just Norm being a pain in the butt. That's actually a state law that we have to do that. But in most towns, especially if somebody's got information we need, we can put them in unanimously. Do you have anything further on?
Unless there's any questions.
Hearing none. Okay, any further questions on Article 17, $10,000 to be placed in the Shakopee Rescue Capital Reserve Fund piggy bank for future needs? Hearing none. All those in favor of Article 17, $10,000 as read? Those opposed? Article is approved. Article 18, see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $23,000 for professional evaluation of real estate changes and maintenance of property records for the town for tax assessment purposes.
Yeah.
Moved and seconded. Questions? Hearing none. All those in favor of Article 18, $23,000 as read? Those opposed? Article is approved. Article 19, see if the town will vote to, these are two, this is confusing. Article 19, see if the town will vote to raise or appropriate the sum of $23,000 to be placed in the revaluation reserve account. Moved and seconded. Questions, comments? Hearing none. All those in favor of Article 19, another $23,000 as read? Those opposed? Okay, that's ambiguous, at least visually. Article 19, show me hands right straight in the air. All those in favor? Okay, I see more hands. Those opposed? Okay, the article is approved. Article 20, to see if town will vote to raise appropriate the following sums to cover health and sanitation expenses. That's solid waste cartage, recycling, for a total of $330,500. We have a motion. Moved and seconded. Questions, comments? Judy?
So if you look on page 22 to 24 in your town report, you'll see there's a recycling report. You'll note that only 9.5% of our trash was recycled this past fiscal year. So I just want to thank everyone who faithfully recycles the first and the third Friday. Keep up the good work, but let's aim for 10% next year. I forgot to include in the report that additional recycling is taking place thanks to a Salvation Army drop-off bin located behind the town office. The bin can hold 300 to 500 pounds of clothing, small items, etc. The Salvation Army reported that it's been emptied approximately 50 times so far, resulting in approximately 2,255 pounds of clothing, shoes, etc. that are being recycled. Thank you to those who have been using the bin, and thank you to Danielle for getting it put there.
Anything further on Article 20, health and sanitation? Jeff?
So 5306 recycling expenses is $500. The committee voted yes, I voted yes, and now I'm thinking maybe we should have put more money into it. And the reason being is, the money, if we increased it, I know we can increase it, but if we increase the budget, maybe we can encourage more people by recycling, by putting more ads in the Shopper's Guide, maybe at the end of each select board meeting, remind the people that watch them meetings live or recorded, that a reminder, we need to recycle. I see an awful lot of cardboard out every single week, and it's first and third, not every single week. You see cardboard out, and we should get back into the OOPS ticket where they had contaminated waste and recycling bins, and then they, like people throw sneakers in and say, "Oops, that's not recyclable." Well, we need to get the OOPS ticket for cardboard and say, "Oops, you put out cardboard on the wrong week, and don't pick it up." And let them, but
I hope
we need to recycle. We're third from the bottom. And if you look at all the towns, we're third from the bottom out of a lot of towns. It's in your report, and every single year we're close to the bottom. Every single year I hear the same thing. Oh, let's recycle, people, but we're not recycling. And people, need to wake up and look at all the people that are throwing out the cardboard. That's a lot of waste. This is $500. I'm not talking about something that's $500, but in reality, it's a lot more because we're paying for those tipping fees.
Okay, I think people will take that under advisement, Jeff. And again, clarification, this is what's called a closed article because it specifies an amount and we cannot legally increase it at town meeting. If it was what's called an open article that begins to see what sum the amount of people, you can go anywhere up to a half a bazillion, but state law makes you stop at half a bazillion.
I just want to let the people know that the people that do care in this room, that we need to get more people involved, and if we have to spend more than $500, then let's do it.
Perhaps in next cycle. Judy.
If you notice when you came in the door, there was a picture there of volunteers that collected the recycling for the electronic waste collection. That was in 2022. I think we're going to be ready for another one. And so I'm kind of taking Jeff's suggestion seriously because we'll be paying for that. And we'll probably do it with Planet again. That worked out really well. So maybe that's something to be considered by the selectmen. I know we can't change it now.
Okay, further questions, comments on Article 20?
Judy, would you like to mention Tri-Town? That's what happened there?
Wonder if that might make a difference. Yeah.
Well,
Jesse developed it, so.
I was just skimming over it just to make sure, but electronic goods are not included at Tri-Town as of yet. Same with, I was double checking in here, mattresses are not, or couches, bulky goods are not as of yet. I believe they will be in the future, but not right this moment.
Also for us guys, Baldwin is in Tri-Town, founding member. Electronics is now $5 an item.
Right. Well, we have a.
Yeah, I know you guys are joining us now.
Yeah.
After all these years.
Yeah, imagine that.
But anyway, whether you put in a transistor radio or a television set, it's $5 now at Tri-Town for.
So it looks like we will probably have to do some unless some.
Well, I think it's in the future, but not right this minute.
I didn't realize you were the one that did the negotiating. Thank you so much.
Well, I guess that's what you call it.
Great. idea.
Probably more testament to who's on the Tri-Town committee now is to me. That would be my guess.
Jeff, real quickly?
Yep, point of interest, electronic waste and porta used to be free, and they used to get paid by a company. But since China's not taking our trash anymore, that's why we've got to pay to have electronics disposal.
Yep. Further questions, comments on Article 20? This is health and sanitation, basically solid waste, $330,500. All those in favor of Article 20 is read. Those opposed? The article is approved. Page here. Looking for Article 21, see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the following sums to cover winter road maintenance, sand and salt. That includes winter road maintenance contracts for $467,000, sand and salt for $110,000, and a new thing, New Hampshire Department of Transportation, Province Lake Road, $41,934 for a total of $618,934 under this article. Do we have a motion?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Questions, comments? Yes, sir.
What did that New Hampshire thing cover? Did that cover the main section of 153?
Jesse.
That's exactly what it covers, Jim.
Main section.
Yeah, it's like 1.8 miles. Yeah.
I didn't want to see us doing maintenance on New Hampshire Road. 153 does cut the main for ways there.
Right.
Yes.
I got a couple of questions.
Speak right up, please.
Huh?
Speak right up loud,
Okay,
please.
one is on winter road maintenance. Live in the south section of town, and we've got the same contractor we had the previous 3 years. The problem is, it wasn't, he didn't do a very good job. A couple things that are happening. One is, when they sign a contract to treat and plow roads, I don't think there's any discrepancy between, well, this road has 10 people on it, this one has 20, so you do a better job on the one that's got 20. I think the contract doesn't differentiate at all between roads. And we've allowed this guy to get away with picking and choosing what he does. And I know the selectmen's aware of this, and they had some issues with it. I just wish we had a little more oversight this winter on this guy. And I really think it's the road commissioner's job to do that. I know you guys give out the contract phone numbers of whoever got the contract, and you say, oh, call him. And I have made a few calls to him. But I don't know what the job description of our road commissioner is, but I really think we could hold these guys to the contract they signed to do the job they were supposed to if we had someone providing oversight during the winter. And that goes for both sections, but I know we've had issues and you guys are aware of it, and I've heard it. If he doesn't perform, maybe he won't have the contract for 3 years. And then the other thing is, I hope you guys look both contractors' equipment over before they start the season. I really think the guy got by doing 3 years worth of plowing for us, and he really didn't have the equipment that we require him to have. So I hate to go through another 3 years with this guy. We had school buses that couldn't get over the roads. We had trash that couldn't be picked up. And I heard the excuse, well, call me if the roads are icy. That's not my job.
Right.
He needs to get in his truck and drive around or put his crews out there. And even the school bus route, those roads have got to be treated by 6 o'clock in the morning. He can't start at 6. He needs to start 2 o'clock in the morning. So we're going to get somebody hurt, some kids hurt on a school bus if he continues. And he was no better the end of his 3rd year than he was the 1st year. I called him on his 3rd year of a road that storm started in the morning, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, I called them, they forgot to plow it. So I'm just saying, you know, I wish we had more oversight, and maybe the road commissioner could provide that, even if we have to pay him for it, fine. Something to consider.
I got a few hands, I'm gonna call on them in the order I saw them. That's the way in the back.
Yeah, of course, we've had a problem down in the south on the Cram Road. And usually what I do is I call the road commissioner. I mean, there's no sense calling the town office. They may not even be with you. But I have called the road commissioner, and they usually, I mean, I'm not saying they come right down, but usually there's somebody that comes by. Now, whether that was, you know, they were gonna come anyways, or the road commissioner made a call. I know if you call him, he usually responds. So I'm not gonna necessarily criticize him. I got other things I could criticize him for, but usually in the snow business, especially with the school buses, and they know where the school buses are running, they usually clean up their mess.
Yes, sir.
I wanted to say, I live right on the corner of Stonewood Lane and Maplewood Road. I've watched those plows go by day after day of the storm. They run the main road only. Very seldom go up the side road. I got talking to one of the drivers one day, he said, we're told to do the main road first. Well, a big proportion of the population of Baskerville lived on those side roads. They have to be able to get out, buses have to go in and out, and so do rescue units. I had to plow. Why not forget the main road for a little while and take to the side roads? I plowed for 600 for Steve Sawyer in this town. And that was where most of my plowing was on the side road.
Further questions, comments on Article 21, winter maintenance? Jeff?
Maybe this is for another time, but for the selectmen to hear, we probably should give the road commissioner a stipend of some sort in the wintertime. Or his assistant to go out and check to see the roads instead of waiting for a bunch of calls. But that might be something in the future. Maybe I'll have a workshop and discuss that. But
Okay, good.
maybe we should-
Anybody else on winter maintenance of roads? Are we ready to vote?
I got one other question.
Okay. No, let's hear it. Now's the time.
On the new article, the Province Lake Road.
Yeah.
The question I get to the selectmen on this, this was given to it's considered a town road now because it only connects to town roads and New Hampshire roads. So they gave us this road. It's got a small bridge on it. It's paved, it's lined. One thing, of course, we got to plow it this winter. And we're going to, I assume, probably going to pay New Hampshire to plow it again. They have in the past. Not that I'm promoting this, but our contractor that plows the south end of Passersfield actually has to travel that road to access roads he has to plow. If he did it, if he was good, did a good job, I understand why you're going with New Hampshire, but he has to travel those roads with his trucks with the plows out to access a bunch of roads there. And the other question I got concerning this is, are we gonna get any more compensation from the state of Maine? That bridge has had some concrete repair work done probably 10, 15 years ago. I've been in that area for 60, 70 years. They've never done any deck work or anything on that. It's paved over the deck. I don't know if it's a structural steel, a precast deck, or what it is, but we're gonna have to pay, half of that's in New Hampshire, half's in Maine. We're gonna have to pay for that. The pavement, when it was turned over to us, is not new pavement. It's got cracks in it now. We're gonna have could have some significant expenses coming on that road. And do we have to accept that road in the condition that they gave it to us?
That's it.
As near as I can tell, they washed their hands of it. Ed went back and forth with them 5, 6 times more, I don't know, and negotiated, and all he got was, he gained us about 1.5 years. They agreed to pay for it 1 more year, which was last year, and then we had to pay, what was it? Half this year? We have to pay half this year, or are we up to whole this, anyways. I
We
can't
saved a
remember.
little money.
Yeah, Ed saved a little money, but other than that, here you go, that's what you got.
That bridge costs
Absolutely.
thousands
Yeah.
of dollars, even if we're only paying for half of it.
I know, so we gotta plan on paying for it when we gotta fix it, as near as I can tell.
I think we got a report on it. I don't know what the report says.
Yeah, we have 2 other bridges that, the road commissioner and I went and met with the guy from the state both on Cram Road. One of them, he thought we had 5 years, and one he thought we might have another 20 years, and both of those are probably about $500,000 apiece. So that's as the prices are now. So say nothing about what the 20 years, what the 20-year one will cost. So we had spoke of putting I'm not certain if it made it in here, a bridge reserve of, $10,000 wouldn't get you too far for 5 years on a $500,000 bridge, but you either do it now, or you either put money ahead for it now, or you pay for it so, but I think something needs to be in there. We need a reserve.
I wish we got some money like a reserve money. I mean, they know what the condition of the bridge is. They did the report. Is it 75% deteriorated or whatever?
I think the point has been made. If we can move on real quick.
What road is he talking?
What?
Which road is he talking?
153.
Province Lake Road. Okay, Article 21 is $618,934 for winter road maintenance. Are we ready to vote? Hearing no objection. All those in favor of Article 21 as presented? Those opposed? Article 21 is approved. Article 22 is see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the following amounts to cover highway and bridge expenses. And they are general maintenance and paving and sealing for a total of $490,000. Get a motion. Moved and seconded.
I speak to that.
What?
I got a comment.
Well, speak right up, Jess.
Well, I was raising my hand.
I saw.
You'll notice the general maintenance has gone up 70,000, is that correct?
Yes, I believe so.
I thought it was fitting for sure. It hadn't gone up, I don't believe, since I've been selectman, and the cost of, I don't know if anyone's in the business or anything, but the cost of equipment alone has gone up 50% in the last 5 years. We were putting on Band-Aids with the money we had. We weren't taking on really any projects. And then this year, it goes to show that I thought our roads were great last fall. I was on them a lot. They looked as good as I could remember, especially our dirt roads. And then look at where we are now with all the washouts. We're right back to square one. Now, granted, LRAP will cover, was it LRAP, correct?
LRAP and FEMA.
FEMA will cover a lot of that, but I think this is appropriate. I mentioned we should add 100,000 to it, 50%, close to 50%, but 70 got added to it. So that number is higher than it has been previously.
Yes.
A couple of things, just because it happened over the area I live in. One, we had a bad washout on one hill, and what originally caused that problem was a logging operation. It happened back last winter, washed out a small portion of the road. We put a cone, left the cone, didn't fix it. Then, we had major rain events. I don't think the logging outfit, I know Maya was aware of it. He had talked to them. They did nothing. We ended up going back on that road 3 times. Wouldn't surprise me if we spent $50,000 there, or more. I just think we got to be a little bit more aggressive. They should have fixed the first problem, and nothing's been done today. Although we have gone in heavy ditch rip-rapped it, and, we just gotta be more aggressive.
Jesse?
I was there the day after it happened. I called the forest ranger to come check it out after we had the bad washout, for improper practice or whatever. That would be the sort of the police of it. Okay, he supposedly went right there. I never heard another word from him. I spoke to Maya. Maya verified that he knew the forest ranger was present, came over, saw it, nothing happened. So I don't know what avenue you would take to push it any further. I mean, there's, I'm not certain.
Well, that's it. I just think they caused a good.
No,
It cost us a ton of money.
Yeah.
Somehow, I don't know what what you can do, but boy, it cost us some money.
I agree.
Jeff, real quick?
Yep, real quick, 5404 paving and sealing. That's a question for the road commissioner.
Well,
Is the road commissioner here?
do we have a road commissioner here?
No. Nope.
Oh, I guess it can't be answered then.
Can't be answered by the road commissioner then.
Right, okay.
Okay? Yes, sir.
I have a question that probably don't pertain to this article, but where is the road commissioner? I've never seen him out there on the job. We got two men over in our section, and two good working men that work together and do a good job. The road commissioner, I've never seen him on the job. What does he do?
He's the road
We
commissioner.
always used to have road commissioners that were up there working with the crew.
Jesse, any,
Commissioner has to be on that job.
So
Jesse wants to answer.
the road commissioner is only hired to road commission. He doesn't even have to, we could hire somebody to be road commissioner that doesn't have a piece of equipment if they were good at delegating to other companies and and bidding on things. That's how I understand it. He happens to have the equipment himself, and I can assure you, we're probably getting as good a bang for our buck as, any town, as near as I can tell.
We're getting good work, but those two they're working on time.
Yeah, they do a great job together, I feel. I know he is not there, the one running the excavator. But he's the one picking and choosing what they're working on next. And he's discussing with them, telling them where they should go next. So they talk about it. But I don't think anywhere it says he has to be the one on the job site.
Judy?
I have to laugh about it a little bit. Every time you see them, they switch jobs. They run any piece of equipment there is.
Yeah,
They switch over.
yeah.
Because you're the one that gets a good job.
Okay, Judy is recognized.
If you want to see the work that Larry does, come down to the Long Pond Boat Launch on Road Between the Ponds. I know Road Between the Ponds is horrible, but in that area, as part of our grant from the Long Pond Association to get rid of the algae bloom, he did an amazing job to stop soil from washing into the pond. So I'm all for Maya. And one other thing, Mr. Moderator, I see that Article 23 is the next one, that's halfway through.
Well, we can't talk about that.
A break after that?
We can take a break because you guys all got steel seats. And it hurts after a while. Article 22, are we ready to vote? Jeff, something real brief?
Just one more thing, when you remove vegetation on the edges of the road, that causes erosion. So I've seen it firsthand where loam is taken out, grass has been taken out to replace it with road pack, and then it just washes down in the gullies. I just think that somehow we need some more education on how to take care of the edges of the road.
I'm sure there are what's called best practices for that stuff. Okay, let's vote on Article 22, shall we? Article 22, to see if the town will vote to raise appropriate following amounts to cover highway and bridge expenses. It's a total of $490,000. All those in favor? Those opposed? The article is approved. Now, we'll do Article 23, and unless there's serious objection, we'll take a 5 or 10 minute break. I'll when we get through with Article 23, we'll announce a time to break and get back, and everybody can stretch their muscles and bones and stuff. Article 23 is see if the town will vote to authorize the selectmen to appropriate up to $97,560 for the maintenance of roads from current fiscal year LRAP, Local Road Assistance Program. And it's a state-funded road maintenance program. Under this article, it's proposed that $32,560 would be used for paving and sealing, and designated road maintenance and repair in the amount of $65,000 for a total and it says up to $97,560. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Moved and seconded. Questions, comments? Jeff?
Do they list the roads that in LRAP? I noticed a few years ago, they listed all the roads that got assistance.
It says designated. Is there a designation somewhere?
There is. We give them a report of the roads and how much was spent on each road.
Yeah. Do you have plans for what's upcoming?
I don't know.
Okay. Further questions, comments, Article 23? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor of Article 23 in the amount of up to $97,560, please indicate by raising your hand. Those opposed? The article is approved. Okay, Judy has recommended, usually Dan makes the recommendation, but Judy beat her to it. Let's take you want 5 minutes or 10 minutes? What's the general consensus?
No, 5 won't work.
5 won't work. 10 minutes. We will reconvene. The meeting is still in order. We will reconvene when the big hand is on 8, okay? Okay, thank you.
Right. Still say 20 of 11.
Having fun?
I'm gonna wound Jeff up.
I don't see it's any different. I don't see it's any different. They always do.
No, but it's like the first thing.
I know.
About the contract depth. and the
Yeah.
All right, so, oh, good.
He posted, I don't know if it did or not, but it's supposed to.
Yeah, but he's gonna do what he wants. We even had to fix the air conditioner.
Well, he wants it.
It's not like we say, Jeff, you can't have it.
Well, you got the right priority.
You came in and voted yesterday.
Oh, okay, so
I'm
she's
sure
around.
she's all right.
Yeah.
I should hit the men's room before I.
Yeah, well, I'll be a ways behind you.
That's providing I can get up and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Should be up there. No, it's better. I like what you do. Like back when Johnny. I always think of it, you know, even like the light. It's night, the state is so cheap.
You're at the mercy of. I'd like I was thinking that's where all the. Oh, I know, you're right there, that guy. I remember they're more, probably a little more careful around your.
So what happened was,
There's a few cases in the rabbit cover.
They start coming out of the pasture. They're all sprouted in their. That's right. Because it's got salt. Yeah.
My brother was.
It also kills trees.
Oh, yes.
That's in Mexico. Maybe it's
And the other was the I like that. You couldn't have any meetings in this. We do pretty good, I think. Well, no, just leaving. Right? This is the and this never people like to complain. They go, I'm gonna complain, but I can figure out what I'm So you guys, with the house wanna be in the same spot as Clarence Oh, yes. Does he gonna have issues? And I thought you guys were the first. I was kind of busy with that. Yeah,
Yes, it won't make you fat. They ain't hard enough so they can hear me up in the lobby.
Jesus.
Bigger hammer.
That's it. Let me just take a look, make sure you don't have a jammer and everything. I don't want anybody to miss out on all of it.
it's just Jeff.
Come on, Jack, you're holding things up.
You're holding me.
Well, we all like to be in parades, don't we? Well, some of us do, some of us don't. Sorry, folks.
All right, we'll be back in session, still in order and all that. We'll jump to, or we'll move in progression, Article 24. to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $5,000 plus any state or individual reimbursements to cover the general assistance program. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Questions, comments on Article 24? Jeff?
How are we doing with general assistance? Does anybody have a count on how many people come in for it?
Very few.
Yeah. Numbers are down
Yeah,
surprisingly.
I was just gonna say, I thought that there was very few in the last year.
We've got hardy souls here in Parsonsfield.
No, we're
Further-
just out of the way.
That's it, they can't find you.
Can't find us, that's it.
That's all right. Okay, are we ready to vote on Article 24? Okay, Article 24, $5,000 for general assistance. All those in favor? Those opposed? The article is accepted. Article 25, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the following sums to cover cultural and recreation expenses. They are the Keys Falls Library, the Shakopee Valley Rec Council, and Parsonsfield Porter Historical Society for a total of $10,500. Can we have a motion?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Questions, comments? Jeff?
Might not have anything to do with the library, but
It has to.
it does. How does the library get valued at over $1 million? The building?
It's on the National Register.
That's,
I was just wondering.
Can anybody answer that real quick?
Over $1 million.
We don't have an answer to that.
Yeah, that's not a town valuation, you realize.
Right, it's just on the books as
Yeah.
tax deferred, $1 million building. In 2009, it was 190,000.
Okay, Jeff, inasmuch as that's not pertinent to this appropriation and the answer.
Well, it had library in it.
Answer seems to be nebulous, although it would be interesting. We'll move on. Further questions, comments on Article 25? Hearing none, all those in favor of Article 25, $10,500 as read. Those opposed? The article is approved. Article 26, see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the following sums to cover social service expenses. They are York County Community Action, Visiting Nurses Association, which is now called Maine Healthcare, Agency on Aging, Caring Unlimited, Red Cross, Life Flight, St. Matthew Food Pantry, Smooth Feathers, the Grateful Undead, Maine Public Radio and TV, and the Saco River Festival. Total appropriation under this article would be $10,633. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Questions, comments? Yes.
I would like to bring up my concerns that the Southern Maine Agency on Aging has asked for $2,500, which is significantly more than all the other agencies have asked for. I look at York County Community Action that is significantly involved in this area.
Can you speak up a little more?
I look at York County Community Action that's significantly involved in the area out here and that has spent almost $508,000, and they're asking for $1,250 from this town alone. And the Southern Maine Agency on Aging is asking for $2,500. St. Matthew's Food Pantry fed 630 people, 211 families. They're asking for $1,200. The Southern Maine Agency on Aging served 43 people out here. I was a previous employee of the Agency on Aging, and I'm familiar with the services that they provide out here, and they're really minimal services. So I would just like to make a recommendation that at most we provide them with $1,000 at most for the services that they provide out here. I think in this day and age, when we have a lot of expenses for this town, to provide them with $2,500 is a lot of money. We're gonna get the same services from them whether we provide them with $2,500 or whether or not we provide them with $50.
Okay, Jeff?
I like her point, and maybe we should motion to move Article 5704 and vote on reducing that amount to the suggested amount, $1,200, you said?
I actually said 1,000.
1,000?
At most.
Okay, let's reduce it to $1,000. We can vote, we should amend that and change it to $1,000
Okay, so you wish to make an amendment?
on that one item.
Okay, you're amending Article 26, and it's the 5704 account to Southern Maine Agency on Aging. You're amending the 2,500 to 1,000, is that?
$1,000, yeah.
Is that what you say?
Yep, I think it's an educated figure. Yeah.
Okay, is there a second to Jeff's amendment? Did you second it?
Yes.
Okay, now we can discuss the amendment specifically. So, and then we'll vote on the amendment, and then we'll vote on the whole article. So, the discussion now is to change 5704 Agency on Aging from 2,500 to $1,000. Comments on that? I saw you.
Not on that one, but
Okay.
one discussion on, can I discuss now that I agree with what's been said? But I just have a general question before we do that. How, do we just need to vote on the amendment first?
Yeah, we need to discuss the amendment and things directly pertinent to it, vote on it, and then we can get back into Article 26 as a whole. So, David?
I have two questions. First is, can somebody explain to us what, for instance, the difference is between the services from Southern Maine Agency on Aging and York County Community Action? And second of all, this was brought before the Budget Committee, and the Budget Committee voted for this. And I'm curious why they did that, if now I'm hearing from a budget member that that's.
I'm not part of the budget committee, but I did sit on the meeting, and I had a question also when I saw this amount, because I dealt with them in trying to get services that were unavailable out here. So I went back and read their letter of request, which to me sounded, oh, okay, well, they do this and they do that, and they service people who give respite care. So it sounded, it sounded reasonable, and then in speaking with somebody who's worked with the agency and realizing what their funding was and what their money came from and for, I thought, well, I think the letter's just slightly misleading in a town our size, when other towns much bigger than our towns, like what's it, Kennebunk, give that amount, but not, not this town, not towns of our size. Cornish, 1,000, and I'm done speaking because I think Pam could speak better to that.
So I used to work for the Agency on Aging, and I can tell you where all the money comes from. They get a lot of federal money that helps pay for the Meals on Wheels program. The community cafe comes in that Title III-C money. A lot of the respite services that they refer to in the letter comes from state funding from the Caregiver Respite Program. So I agree that the amount can be reduced, and do we look at what other towns are giving? I've only been here for a couple of years, so do we look at what other towns of similar size are giving before we decide on what we agree, or do we just look at the letter and say, oh, that sounds good? That's just a general question, and I agree with the amendment.
That's a Budget Committee question. Is there somebody from the Budget Committee that can specifically deal with that briefly?
Yes, briefly.
Okay.
I am on the budget committee.
I knew
All
that.
these letters get sent to us over the years, and we usually give the same amount. Oh, we gave them that much last year, we give them this much this year. The budget committee also was saying, maybe these people should come in and explain to us. And this was one of those things where they probably should have came in and explained it to us. This would be great if we could just amend this to $1,000.
Well, that's on the floor right now. Yes.
David, I'd like to answer your question about York County Community Action based on what I know, which may not be everything. York County Community Action does fuel assistance for people. They provide transportation for people. They have housing assistance for people. They provide daycare resources for people. They provide numerous resources, and they're much more active in the community. They provide for all ages as well. I'm sure they provide a lot more than that in addition that I'm not familiar with.
Okay. Yes.
I think that that's a great idea, Jeff, that they come to the town meetings. I happen to know that the Southern Maine Agency on Aging has in the past sent people to town meetings. They may not have been here, but they should be.
I can tell you that from my experience as a moderator in various towns, these public service NGO type agencies who do send a representative to the town meeting, and we always get them permission to speak, they make out a heck of a lot better than them that don't show up. Okay, so we have the Jeff amendment to change 5704 Southern Maine Agency on Aging from $2,500 to $1,000. Further discussion on this matter? Okay, we're voting on the amendment right now, not the whole article. All those in favor of the amendment to change Southern Maine Agency on Aging amount from $2,500 to $1,000. All those in favor? Those opposed? Okay, the amendment, I gotta write that down. The amendment is approved. Now, we can get back to Article 26 as amended. Are there further questions or comments on Jen?
Speaking to have a representative for the social services, I am a member of the Grateful Undead, as are several other people in here. This is a new request to the town. We are a local group of volunteers. We are now a 501c3, so we're a nonprofit, and because of that, we have to have liability insurance. We provide rides to medical appointments, dialysis treatments, shopping, errands. We have a Handy Helpers program for doing small repairs for people in our community. We've had to pay for criminal record background checks on all of us that volunteer, and for those who care, might be okay. We also have asked for this amount from all the other towns and have been given it already. So that's why we were asking for 500. Thanks.
The insurance comes under the concept of no good deed shall ever go unpunished. Further questions, comments on Article 26 as amended? Yes.
Okay, I have a question about the Red Cross, the $750. How does anyone in here with the budget know how much of that percentage of that money goes for, administration services? What percentage?
Jeff, what do you know about the Red Cross, what they do with that money?
Absolutely nothing. I don't know anything about it. All I know is they probably submitted a letter, asked for some money. Everybody feels for Red Cross. You know, it's been around forever. And we just, you know, it's like salute and flag. You just got to do it. But I don't know what, she's right, you know, administration fees, I don't know.
Dan?
Also on the budget committee, and for a long time. In the past, the Red Cross has been asking for a lot more than this, and over the years, we've cut them back quite a ways. Partially because they seldom show up here. When they do a great job, but it's not that often. And we really felt like they were getting a lot of funding elsewhere, and they were asking us for more than we thought was appropriate.
Judy, can you add to that? Or subtract if you,
The question was, somebody Google it and you'll find out.
say what?
Google how much their administration gets from that money.
I know for a fact, they get over 20%. Anybody that gets over 20% for funding of care facility or whatever is not using that money properly. It should be 10% or less. And that is a true fact.
Okay, further discussion on Jeff.
Well, judging what I'm hearing, 5609, we should probably amend that and cut it down to
500 with baby steps.
Okay, is that, are you on that amendment?
I'm suggesting that 5609 Red Cross from $750 be reduced to 500.
Okay, we have another amendment on the floor, 5609. The amendment, no, we don't have the amendment on the floor because I haven't heard a second.
I second.
Okay, now we have an amendment on the floor to take 5609, the Red Cross, and change 750 to $500.
Can I just say one thing?
Yes, Darren.
Just one thing to think about, just a different perspective, not agreeing or disagreeing with either anyone amending up or down. If we have a professional person come from the Red Cross for, say, 1 8-hour day with a professional vehicle, whatever that might be, that's probably would cost $750. That's 1 day. I just want to put that out there that I'm certain that they get big funding from all kinds of other places, but $750 to get a professional person out here for a day, call it 2 days. I mean, we must receive 2 days worth of service from one person with a vehicle, which will easily eat up $750. I just wanted to say that.
Okay, we're discussing the amendment now, the Red Cross amendment. Further discussion specifically on the amendment? You had your hand up?
Yeah, why would we have to pay them $750? Isn't that supposed to come out of their fund?
It's a good question. I don't know,
Yes. That's why they get the money donated to them, is to pay for these services to these towns. The town shouldn't have to pay for that service. It's just like, I'll give you an example. When we were in Ohio years ago, they had a horrific tornado go through a small town. Red Cross came in, and instead of giving the people that were there working to clean the mess up, to make these people feel better about the situation, they were charging these people for a sandwich. Now that's, to me, that's not right. They were charging the workers, they were charging the people that just lost everything. Does that make sense?
Okay, Jen.
Just real quickly, could she explain again?
Just a minute. Jen is recognized to speak at the moment. Nobody else. Jen.
You could explain again about the administrative fees.
When I worked on the budget committee in Hampton, New Hampshire, anybody that asked for money, for donation, anything over 20%, what they took out for administration fees was not right. It should be a lot less than that, 10%. People donated this money to help people. They didn't donate this money to give this person a nice hotel to stay in while they were someplace they had to be. Or one instant, when this tornado happened, everybody was putting in clothing and, calling the Red Cross. And I did myself, and I had just had my youngest son. I had baby clothes he couldn't get into. Everything still had price tags on it. Do you know they wouldn't take them? They told me, no, you have to give the money to them so they could go buy. And the lady across the street from us, her husband was the chief officer.
If we could summarize this is going on a
It
little.
won't take long. She worked with the Red Cross. When those clothes came in, those people that were working for the Red Cross got first dibs on the clothes, not the people who needed them. Now, that's not right.
Okay, we have an amendment on the floor to change 5609 Red Cross appropriation from 750 to 500. Is there any further discussion before we vote on the amendment? Hearing none. All those in favor of another amendment, the amendment to change the 5609 appropriation from $750 to $500. All those in favor of the amendment, please raise your hand. Those opposed? The amendment is approved. Okay, we have now Article 26 with two amendments. We've taken 1,500 and 250 out of it. So we've taken 1,750 out of it so far. Further discussion on Article 26 as double-ended. Okay. Somebody got a number cruncher and can subtract?
383.
Say again?
I have 9,383.
No, we took 20.
No, that can't work.
We started at 10,600.
10,633.
We started with 7,400.
Oh, I forgot the 1,000.
We'll take another 1,000 off.
Now, we're on Article 26, right?
Another 1,000, that's easy.
Article, okay, 10,006, who's got a number cruncher? David, you're
I
the,
can't guarantee it's right, but I've got 8883.
I agree with David.
Okay.
okay, 888300. Okay. Article 26 has been doubly amended. And by the way, just, you can't amend an amendment, but we can have two amendments on an article. Interesting thing of moderator law. Anyway, Article 26, as doubly amended, the amount of $8,883. All those in favor? Them as opposed? The article is approved as doubly amended. Article 27. See if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the following sums to cover miscellaneous expenses. They are mowing and care of veterans' graves and cemetery repairs, and an amount to the West Day Post of the American Legion. Do we have a motion? Moved and seconded. Discussion. Hearing none. All those in favor of Article 27 is read. Those opposed, the article is approved. Article 28, see if the town will vote to roll over unexpended cemetery funds into a cemetery maintenance reserve fund. This would be a new reserve account. This fund would be utilized along with newly approved fiscal yearly funds to perform work on cemeteries. And this article will remain in effect, if approved, until rescinded by the town meeting. Do we have a motion? Moved and seconded. Discussion, questions? Yes.
I think part of this was because of me. I'm the president of East Parsonsville Cemetery, which is private, not town funded. And I had gone to the town to see about help. And we're a small group, and the only money we make is when we sell a grave. And between the upkeep, the mowing, the mending of fences, and the gravestones, and the removal of tree debris and everything else, we went to the town to see if we could get some help. So it's a lot of work, a lot of care. So this is why I would like to see that even the private cemeteries get part of this money that comes up. Some are saying no because it's private, but that's not quite fair. We have veterans, we have longtime residents in this cemetery that live there all their lives. My whole family is there, so I just think, and I've been a resident my entire life.
Not yet.
Yeah, well, thank you, to this point. So I think we should be able to get part of this funding.
David?
Yeah, to answer two parts of your comments. First of all, it was our understanding that town monies could not be spent on private cemeteries. However, there is state statute, we have found out, that does allow us to give money for care of cemeteries that have veterans' graves in them. And as a matter of fact, if there's a cemetery association, we can potentially give money to cemeteries that don't have veterans' graves in them, as long as they were created before 1880. All right, that being said, this article was put in place because of things more on the town cemeteries. However, and I'll get back to that in a minute, we are considering what methodology we would use to disperse funds fairly among private cemeteries if we went that route. There are over 160 private cemeteries, which, thanks to Wesley, who's no longer here, we can identify. And some of those you can't even find. If you didn't know they were there, you wouldn't know they were there, period. So how do we distinguish, how do we determine where we're going to put the money? That's an issue that the board's going to have to grapple with, and we'll be dealing with that. This article was more a case of, we need a new fence. We've needed a new fence at the North Parsons Field Cemetery for, I don't know, 15 years, I think.
Pick a number.
Yeah. What we allocate annually is probably not enough to cover the expense of that fence. So we were looking at rolling this over into a reserve and being able to replace things like that fence. And then any additional monies, any leftover monies, are monies we could look at dispersing to private cemeteries. So.
Okay, I did listen to the selectmen's meeting when Danielle brought this up. And in that conversation, it was that you had an allocation of $7,000. And the previous year, you'd only used like $2,200 for that.
Mm-hmm.
If there is a private, I mean, this isn't a family private cemetery, this is a town private cemetery. If there is an association, how do they know you have money that is available? I mean, I didn't know that you had money in a fund.
Well, we don't have money in the fund until now. And we didn't know that we could give it to private cemeteries, okay? And there, in terms of the law, there's no distinction between what you're calling a town private cemetery and a family private cemetery.
They all start as a family cemetery and then they just, they grow.
Right.
Further discussion on Article 28. Jeff?
Just on the cemetery, the one on 160 in Merrill Hill, we all know there's some trees that need to be cut down.
I marked them with ribbons already. Unfortunately, it costs a lot of money to cut those trees down, so just a point of interest. We have the fence and we do have trees that are gonna topple and probably break a stone.
Mm-hmm.
Priority, I guess.
Yes.
And just one other thing.
Yep.
How would I go about requesting, if it's possible?
We need to get the whole mechanism in place. We don't know at this point. It will probably be a while before we know what we can do.
And then how would I know it is in place?
Listen to the select board meetings.
Frequently.
Or give a call. I mean, we'll know here. Somebody here will know.
Okay, Article 28, as read, to roll over unexpended cemetery funds into a cemetery maintenance reserve fund. All those in favor? Those opposed? The article is approved. Article 29, to see if the town vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $2,200 for the town's share of funding the courtesy boat inspection station at the Long Pond Boat Ramp. Do we have a motion? Moved and seconded. Judy?
So I'm the coordinator of the courtesy boat inspection program at the boat ramp on Long Pond, and I usually make a report every year. Thank you for your funding. So due to our rainy summer, there was much less use of the Long Pond boat ramp as compared to other summers. However, there were 368 inspections, and the breakdown is, by the way, kayaks, motorboats, I can't believe it. 195 kayaks, 124 motorized boats, 35 paddle boards, 12 canoes, 2 jet skis. Our courtesy boat inspectors logged in 221 hours between Memorial Day and the end of August. The Long Pond Association thanks the Parsonsfield residents for continuing to fund this very important project, keeping Long Pond free of invasive plants. Thanks.
Further comments on Article 29, Long Pond courtesy boat inspection? Hearing none, all those in favor of Article 29, 2200 as read. Those opposed? The article is approved. Article 30, to see if the town will vote to appropriate the refunded fees from snowmobile registrations to be split equally between the Shakopee Valley Snow Drifters Incorporated Snowmobile Club and the Route 11 Streakers Snowmobile Club. Said sum to be the amount refunded by the state for the prior fiscal year amounts to $628.90. Money is to be used for purposes such as trail maintenance, construction of purchases, purchase of equipment and materials for maintenance and construction of trails, which are open to the public free of charge during the winter season. Can we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor of Article 30 is read. Those opposed? The article is accepted. Article 31, to see if the town will vote to appropriate any franchise fees received in the prior fiscal year from Spectrum Charter to be given to TV2 for the purchase and maintenance of equipment and for operating costs. It's the amount we're looking at is $6,390.54. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Moved and seconded. Discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor of Article 31, TV2 as read. Those opposed? The article.
Thank you, TV2.
There's TV2 right in the back. Article 32, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $6,000, and that's broken out into $2,000 each, and to authorize the selectmen on behalf of the town to enter into a mutual aid agreement with the town of Newfield Fire Department, town of Limerick Fire Department, and the town of Effinham's Fire Department for fire protection, and Effinham's Rescue for emergency first response medical care for the western area of Parsons Field for the ensuing year. Do we have a motion?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor of Article 32, $6,000 for mutual aid as read. Those opposed? The article is approved. Article 33, see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $15,000 to be placed in the Municipal Building Capital Repair Fund. Moved and seconded. Discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor of Article 33 is read. Those opposed? Article is approved. Article 34, see if the town will vote to appropriate $40,000 from the Bartlett Doe Fund, and it's parentheses credited to the relief account by vote of the town on March 9, 1953. Hardly a man is still alive who remembers that famous day and year. For the support of the common schools, and said sum to be applied as partial payment school assessment for the ensuing year. Have a motion.
So moved.
Moved and seconded.
Second.
Don't fight. Moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Yes, sir.
I wasn't alive at that time, not old enough to vote, but I remember being at that meeting that day.
Really? Excellent. Excellent. I was alive too, but I was still wearing three-cornered breeches, I think. Okay. Article 34, $40,000. All those in favor? Those opposed? The article is approved. Okay, turn the page here. Article 35, see if the town will vote to authorize the selectmen on behalf of the, I'm getting in my staples here, on behalf of the town to accept or refuse donations and bequests, accept or refuse donations and requests that may be offered to the town, and if accepted, to spend the same in accordance with the wishes of the donor. Such expenditures shall be in addition to any other amounts raised or appropriated elsewhere for a similar purpose. Do we have a motion?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Comments? Jeffrey?
I just have a question. So the town can accept donations
from citizens?
Yes, you could like bequeath your fortune or something.
There's three outstanding tax bills that I'd like to pay to get off the books. Would the town be willing to accept donation?
If, David?
Well, I don't want to speak for the tax collector, but being the prior tax collector, I'll say that anybody can pay anyone's taxes.
Okay, I'd like to do that.
Well, okay, go to the treasurer's office or tax collector's office when they're open.
Thank you.
Further discussion on Article 35. Hearing none, all those in favor of Article 35 is read. Those opposed, article is accepted. Article 36, see if the town will vote to establish 60 days after commitment as the date when the 2023 real estate and personal property taxes will be due and payable, and to establish a rate of 7% interest to be charged on all unpaid taxes as of that date. And we have the information that the maximum allowable rate set by the state of Maine is 8%. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor of Article 36 is read. Those opposed, the article is accepted. Article 37, see if the town will vote to establish a rate of 2% discount to be allowed on all real estate and personal property taxes paid in full within 30 days of commitment. Moved and seconded. Questions, discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of Article 37 is read. Those opposed? Every year I bring this up at the Baldwin Town Meeting and we don't get no stinking discount. Article 38, to see if the town will vote to use the tax lien mortgage method for the collection of unpaid taxes after the expiration of 8 months from the commitment date and maximum allow, and 8 months after the commitment date, and to establish 7% as the rate of interest to be charged on all liens paid in full. Maximum allowable rate set by the state is 8% per annum. The municipal officers shall use the special sale process required by 36 MRS Section 743C for qualifying homestead property if they choose to sell any tax lien foreclosed property to anyone other than the former owners. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor of Article 38 as presented. Those opposed, article is accepted. Article 39, see if the town will vote to authorize the tax collector to accept prepayment of taxes. The amount collected not to exceed the previous year's taxes. Interest on any prepayment will be 0%.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor of Article 39 is read. Those opposed, article is accepted. Article 40, see if the town will vote to establish 7% as the rate of interest it will pay on taxes that have been overpaid in excess of the full amount assessed in accordance with MRSA Title 36, Section 506A. Do we have a motion?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion. Hearing none. Those in favor of Article 40 is read. Them as opposed. Article is accepted. Article 41, see if the town will vote to authorize the selectmen to use monies from the overlay account for real estate and personal property tax discounts and tax abatements, including any interest accrued thereon.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion. Hearing none. Article 41 as read. Those in favor? Those opposed? Article 41 is approved. Okay. Article 42, to see if the town will vote to close a portion of Hasty Road above 85 Hasty Road to Middle Road to winter maintenance and passage from November 1 through April 30 of the following year for the next 10 years. Those in favor? I'm sorry, I need a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, now, jumped the gun, didn't I? Discussion, yes, sir. Well,
After you go by, they've populated in those little city in, right? Okay.
The same section they had
Section
closed.
used to close years ago, yeah.
Further discussion on Article 41, closing the Hasty Road. Yes.
Me?
No.
Okay, I was confused.
You know, I've seen it when it was closed, then the plowing contractor wanted it open because it said it saved him money from going across the road versus traveling around. There's a lot of anticipation this is gonna save the town a lot of money. I don't have a preference either way, probably towards the closing it. But I don't think we're gonna save any money. You're not gonna get money back, I doubt, from the contractor for the next 3 years. And beyond that, whether they'll reduce their bid because of this, I don't know. But the other thing is, what I know what's gonna happen there, because I've seen it in the past, if you're putting up signs, they're gonna go across it anyway, so. And from November 1 on, deer hunters, everything, so you're really not gonna save any money on this. There's some people that think we're gonna save money, and you're not gonna.
I'll get back there in a minute. Jeff, I saw your hand first.
You know, I've been after to get this road closed a long time ago. When it first came to me, they proposed it, road commissioner, and I said, you know, it makes a better snowmobile trail than a road. And this is just 2 miles going through the plantation. I presented this to the select board years ago, and they said it sort of wasn't a significant amount of money, but it was like $5,000. But after 10 years, at $5,000 times 10 adds up to some money. We will save money because we won't have to regrade it as hard if we don't plow it. And if we make it a snowmobile trail, people will respect it more than, like pickup trucks will say, oh, I'm not going to go on it because it's a snowmobile trail. So if we post it as a snowmobile trail, the trucks will respect it, and they won't be mudding it up in the mud season.
Then Carolyn in a minute. Yes, sir.
If it is voted to be closed down, is that gonna be starting with the winter season and right on through mud season? Good.
Yeah, it says November 1st through the 30th of April. So, yeah. Carolyn, I saw your hand first.
Just a question, what direction would, say, fire trucks and ambulances be coming from to go to a place where there are houses? Would that stop any coming from the direction?
No.
No, this way.
They won't go across Hasty Road even when it's in good shape.
They wouldn't do it, oh, yeah, okay.
It ain't that good, huh? Yes, sir.
Well, we haven't done a good job in the winter, so they won't go that way, they never have. As far as them not traveling on that road, they're gonna go on that road. You're gonna have just as much maintenance costs in the spring. I live there, they go right by the signs. No liability to the town because the road's closed. They get stuck, they get themselves pulled out. You're gonna have as much maintenance in the spring after mud season as you ever had. You're not gonna save a dime.
Danielle, you have your hand up?
There was some points made in the clerk's office.
Just let Danielle speak.
Just some discussion that came across the office here, about where the road is, if it did pass, where it's gonna be closed, because you've got your snowmobile, people. Where are they gonna park their trucks? Where are they gonna unload snowmobiles? That's in the same area as the plow truck turnaround and the trash turnaround. So if you do close it, I used to live on Hasty Road and I travel that to come to the office. I don't have a preference. But I am concerned that that area is gonna get clogged with snowmobile people, and then our plow contractor's gonna have a hard time turning around, and also the trash won't have a turnaround. So I think that needs to be looked at, if it is closed.
Okay. Jeff?
Well, as far as snowmobiles go and stuff, years ago it was closed, and it didn't really pose an issue. I think the snowmobiles found a place to park, and the snowplow trucks had a place to turn around. So we're just going back to the way it was. And we will save some money. We have to start saving money, people, because if we don't, we're just gonna keep, tax bill's gonna go up, and then people are gonna complain. We've got little baby steps to, close it now, see how it works. It doesn't have to be closed for permanently. As everybody knows, that we can put it back in anytime we want, but we'll save some money. Obviously, when you drive down, look how much it costs for, at 153, New Hampshire's charging us $41,000 to do 2 miles. And this is 2 miles through the woods, so we'll see.
A couple more people, yes, sir.
Why can't you just block the road off so people, so they can't, it's barricaded, people can't pass it. Newfield does that, on a couple of arrows that they close them. You put big rocks on it, have to move.
Yes, sir.
You're talking about November 1st, you know how many people hunt over on that plantation?
Yeah.
That's gonna be a problem then.
Usually in November, the road, unless you get snow, the road is passed.
They hunt over there, they're gonna pass it. What they're gonna do is they're gonna go around whatever you got on my land, and they're gonna go around it.
Yep.
I say, put a sign up, let them do whatever they're gonna do, which they're gonna. Years ago, they used it just for snowmobiles, that's not gonna be the case now. But, the other question, are we gonna try and get out of the, I know the bids already went out on town, on the plowing. We can ask if we can get some money back. I doubt if we get any because the contract's already awarded, but do you think you could ask, I mean, is it worth asking?
Can't hurt.
I mean, it's what, a mile or two a road or something?
So,
Yeah, Jesse.
so, I guess there's no reason we couldn't ask other than, I think I know what the answer is gonna be. The contract, they gave us a contract price. Yes, we're reducing the mileage. A couple of them actually stated, they didn't even write down a total number. They just wrote, I can't remember, $6, $8 a mile or something of the sort. Those guys, we could certainly have said, if that was what their contract was, I would have a leg to stand on that says, you said X amount, so much a mile, well, we're taking 2 miles out of that. If it was $8 a mile, there's $16,000 theoretically that you're not,
Right.
you know, but we didn't pick anybody that did a per mile price. They gave us a price to plow the town. Now that was up to us so we tried doing this last year, Gary, before, and it didn't, we tried talking or whatever, and we found out we had to have a vote. Because we wanted to do it before plow contracts came up to bid for this reason, thinking if it was gonna affect it, then it would. Well, there was some state statute or something.
We had to have a public hearing, which we had not had.
Right. So here we are now. It would have been beneficial if it was going to be before the fact, but.
I'm all for closing it, but, I mean.
We haven't heard from you.
Yep, right. Yep, I live right over there. I use Hasty Road a lot. I hunt there. I drive through all the time. I was kind of thinking what Danielle said, you know, past that last house to that parking lot there on the left where people unload their snowmobiles, their ATVs. It's access to the ATV trails and everything right there. And that seems like an ideal place to plow up to there. At least people can have access. It's not that much further than the last house. People would be able to unload their vehicles, be off the road, be out of the way, have access to all of the roads. And then that would still leave probably 1.75 miles that wasn't plowed all the way up to the middle road. And there's lots of times where there is no snow in December, January. We didn't really get it until the spring. Ground's frozen, you could drive right through there in the winter, no problem. So my question is, when you say you're not gonna maintain it or plow it, does that mean you can't use it even if there's no snow and the ground's frozen? You can't go in there? Or is it gonna be, I don't like his idea of being blocked off with boulders. I mean, I've never heard of that, but is it just not gonna be maintained and plowed, or you can't go through there at all, even if we have a snowless winter?
I can't say, David. I can't speak legally to that fact, but I've read a bunch of signs in New Hampshire that say this road is, you know, they're metal signs, class something road that says this road is closed to winter maintenance. You pass at your own risk type thing. So if someone goes down there and crashes, they can't sue the town for lack of maintenance. And unless you block it off permanently, which is really tough to do because it's out of the way, it's out of the public eye. People are just gonna do what they want anyways. I was a kid, I was 16, I drove around the gate, and so wasn't everybody else that says, oh, I can easily make it through, there's no reason why not, they're gonna go around the gate and go through anyways.
Yeah, it just wouldn't seem fair for 10 years to close that off every
Right.
winter, especially if some winters had no snow, people wanted to
Right.
access the plantation.
It doesn't have to be for 10 years, though.
Right, it's just that, the 10 years is if it doesn't get brought back up, it will get revisited mandatory in 10 years. But if, say, 2 years from now, we say this was a terrible idea, we need the access, it'll be back up to.
David?
2 points. First of all, to address your idea of people driving on it. Our article does say closed to winter maintenance and passage. Okay, so the way we've written this, it is indeed closed to anybody going in there. However, we say from above, 85 Hasty Road. That could be anywhere from 85 Hasty Road down to the parking lot. And we could decide that down at the parking lot is where we're going to close it off.
An ideal spot to end.
Or maybe close it off there and then when it gets bad, close it off a little further back towards 85. I mean, it's not specific about where the location would be. Your point's good ones, though.
Yes, Gary?
Well, we had, last year when you guys closed it mud season, they still could snowmobile. And they did start parking up there. And they had a hard time unloading and they were blocking that in. The trash truck, it was only a day or two they did it, but the trash truck wouldn't have been able to turn around. Because he left a little bit of room and they filled it with trailers and.
Jeff, something quick?
Yeah, I think snowmobilers can find places to park. I know, I used to go to Stanley Pond and it was limited, but it's just limited, it's just the way it rolls. But let's go, let's revert back to closing it the way it used to be. And in December, I think the select board said there might be 2 contracts. If we did close it, there'd be a contract for some of these roads being closed and some of them being open. So I think there was some negotiating room to.
Okay, any further discussion on Article 42, Hasty Road? Hearing none, all those in favor of Article 42 as read, please raise your hand. Those opposed? The article is approved. Article 43, to see if the town will vote to close a portion of the Keezer Mountain Road from the Great Brook Bridge to 377 Keezer Mountain Road to winter maintenance and passage from November 1 through November 30 of the following year for the next 10 years. Do we have a motion?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion. Hearing none. All those in favor of Article 43 as read? Those opposed? The article is approved. Running out of ink here. Article 44, to see if the town will vote to authorize the use of a portion of the American Rescue Plan ARPA funds in the amount of $18,300 to purchase 2 roll-off containers to be used to enable town residents to dispose of items at the Tri-Town Transfer Station. And it says use of these federal funds does not affect the tax rate. Have a motion? Moved and seconded. Discussion. Jeff?
I guess if we're paying for these containers, is our name going to be on it? Parsonsville?
I don't know.
They said they'd gladly do whatever, they could care less, they're gonna throw trash in them just the same.
I don't know if we're buying 2 new ones and then they get, like, a company picks them up and then brings back.
They have their own trucking.
Okay.
They do their own trucking, they don't leave, they leave, but they come, they literally don't leave the truck, they take them in, they dump them, they bring them back.
I know, like, propane tanks, you get whatever they leave you,
No, they have their own trucking company
We
now.
have our own dumpster with Parsonsfield on it, and that's the dumpster.
Well, it's just gonna be a rotation. So what was happening was, by them taking us on, they don't have room for the volume that they could possibly get on Memorial Day weekend or Labor Day weekend, some of these big weekends where everybody shows up. So they just pull them out. When it's full, they pull it out and set it over there until they can get the guy to take it in and dump it, you know what I mean? But we're running out of dumpsters to rotate.
I get that, I just didn't want us to buy a brand new one and then have it replaced with something that's just total junk,
No,
Right.
you know, which does happen.
And this is not for household trash, you all realize that?
right.
We still have our trash pickup once a week.
It's just for bulky items.
This is,
Right, and
it's in,
We have
Hold
the
on.
bulky pickup, this is for the people,
it's on page, if anyone wants to know, you're all here.
27?
22 and 23.
Okay.
It gives a rundown and it.
This is for people who really don't want to wait, they're closing their camp up and they want to get rid of their refrigerator or their air conditioner or their open, whatever. This will give them a vehicle to do that, cost them a few dollars, but at least they can properly dispose of the item.
Don't have to leave it out in that woods
Right.
road down the,
Oh, thanks a lot.
yes.
Okay, are there gonna be any type of chemicals put in these that are hazardous?
Shouldn't be, no.
I don't think so.
How's that gonna be?
It goes over to,
This is nothing to do with it. This is, we don't handle any of this. This is Tri-Town Transfer Station. All we are doing is paying to use the station. They have their own, they're their own entity.
I will tell you,
Tell us.
you go to Tri-Town, I'll tell you, you go to Tri-Town and people put their stuff in. And whether there's plutonium in there or what, obviously at some transfer station somewhere a month or so ago, somebody had some iodine crystals and you saw the purple skies in Portland. Those poor guys got enough to do. They can't be sorting through.
I was just wondering.
Yeah, no, there may be hazmat
It's
there,
right
'cause that's
here.
how people are.
It's right here, what goes in.
But anyway, okay. Any further discussion on Article 44, 18,300 of ARPA funds for the
Well, I
roll-off?
have one more thing to state. So when I met with them, initially, we were going to pay so say they paid 10 cents a pound to get rid of something from, from the Tri-Town, we were gonna pay like 30 cents or 40 cents a pound. Well, because that's a multi-million-dollar facility and we were just kind of like showing up and using it, so I understood no matter what price they threw at us, we were kind of getting the good end of the deal as far as I could tell. And then it became apparent to them that it was much easier for them, for the guys working there, not to decipher, okay, you're from Parsonsfield, you pay that much, but, a different rate. It was easier for them to keep the rates all the same. And they needed these dumpsters to house us. They were gonna have to buy them anyways. And so up front, we're buying these in return of us using the whole Tri-Town, except for the household trash, for the same price that the Tri-Town people are using it, which is a win-win if you ask
Yeah.
me.
Okay, further discussion on Article 44. Jeff?
Just one quick thing, are they gonna keep track of, how much tonnage that Parsonsfield brings?
No.
I
don't, well, if they do, it's for their own bookkeeping purposes on whether they're making out or not, but
I was just curious.
Yeah.
That was,
a point of business on their part, that might be a good idea to know whether it's worth it or not, if we're bringing in a wicked lot, then it's.
Yeah,
Right.
I don't believe the personnel exists. They got
No.
nothing.
No, I get it, it was just a question.
Yeah. Okay, Article 44, are we ready to vote? All those in favor of Article 44 as presented? Those opposed? Article 44 is accepted. Article 45, see if the town will vote to authorize the use of the remainder of the American Rescue Plan ARPA funds for the repair of roads and bridges. This amount will be in the range of $25,000 to $50,000. Use of the federal funds does not affect the tax rate. We have a motion.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion. Hearing none. All those in favor of Article 45 as presented. Those opposed. Everybody likes to spend free money. Now, Danielle, do I need a small written vote on this next article? What? Okay.
Yeah, we do need a written vote.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, this Article 46 is a state of Maine thing they dumped on us, I think in about 2005. It's a formality. It has to be done by a written vote. A quorum for the written vote is 3 members. Do we have some little pieces of
I
paper?
sure do, yep.
And if we got three or four people who'd be willing to come forward and vote.
Can we get the article at the
Not the
table?
moderator's place to tell you how to vote, but it would be easy if this passed easily. So if we could get 3 or 4 registered voters to come up.
Point of interest, can we get the article on the table?
Yeah, thank you. Article 46, see if the town will vote to exceed the 2023 municipal property tax levy per MRSA Title 33. An affirmative vote will allow the municipality to surpass the 2022 limit, but requires that the 2023 limit be used as the base for next year's limit calculation. We have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
And it's moved and seconded. Secret voting will commence.
See, there are only 3 people. We better get 4 just in case somebody says
Yeah.
no.
As many people can vote as want to. It's not limited to 3, but that's the minimum. You declare the voting closed, Danielle? I thought I heard that.
3 yeses.
3 yeses. The article is accepted. Okay, we've come to the end. This has been a good meeting, good discussion, and nobody's cell phone went off. That's a first in a long time that I've heard. Article 47, do I hear a motion to adjourn? Moved and seconded. All those in favor of adjourning? Those opposed? Thank you very much. The meeting is,
Everybody. And I know you're busy, buddy. Don't make yourself scarce.
No, I
We gotta
won't.
see you every now and then. I'll stop by your house too.
Yeah, we'll monitor
Better come check
your
out.
building.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we're appointed deputy CEOs, building inspectors.
What's that? I'm assuming you got the,
Yeah, from the state.
Did the cat get your tongue?
Sorry?
Did the cat have your tongue? You didn't speak at all.
Good job, Frank.
They have their.
I said,
Thank you.
you made up for me.
thank you for being.
I just had one question for you.
What's that?
Well,
Hey, thank you for your service.
I come to make sure it keeps us honest and
The 1.7.
working, keeping us honest.
No,
Don't hesitate.
I went through, I had a list of all the things over the years, 10 years, and half the stuff there's and stuff.
Half?
Today. Done.
Hey, what's happening? Monday. No, they'll use a bunch of them on Monday for
I
the.
can't, do the best we can.
So,
Yeah, I just.
a light on the flag, just generator.
Oh, you
See
know
what
how
helps.
I feel. I like that, yeah. Get me one of those fun seasons or what?
I think so.
Yeah.
I'm gonna market it.
Maybe back next year. I don't think this guy's gonna go, say how my life's.
Concerned about the reports, like with the deputy reports and stuff like that up
Oh,
front.
yeah, but, yeah.
Thank you for all
Well,
your.
it's,
We do those every month.
I know, but it's not,
It really does.
it's not to the public.
Come up every month.
A lot of time they go in the trash unless Jesse gives it to me.
Come up every month.
I do, but see, I want it on the